हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदातिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्देशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नमने गौतसे नमः। वंशकल्पातरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone. We are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, 4th chapter, and verse number 56. Radha Krishna ek atma dui dehadhari, Anyone vilase rasa aswadana kari. Radha Krishna ek atma dui dehadhari, Anyone vilase rasa aswadana kari. Radha Krishna ek atma dui dehadhari, Anyone vilase rasa aswadana kori. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation: Radha and Krishna are one and the same, but they have assumed Duidhyadhari, two bodies. Anyone Vilase Rasa Aswadana Kari, thus they enjoy each other, tasting the mallows of love. So we spoke about this. We read, in fact, next 2-3 verses also. So just doing a quick recap of our discussion that we had yesterday. So Krishna is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Purna Purushottam Bhagavan. And that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all attractive, is attracted. Can we just switch off put your mobile in silent mode, please? Somebody's mobile is ticking. And for the rest of the brahmacharis, you're not supposed to have your smartphone, right? Until 9 o'clock. Put in a flight mode and keep it aside. Yeah, what was I saying? Because you are inattentive, because of your inattention, I become inattentive. I lost the track. What is the point I was making?
Yesterday's discussion.
Yeah, what was the point in that discussion? I remember I said yesterday. Krishna is the Purna Purushottam Bhagavan. Krishna means all attractive, and that all attractive is attracted to Srimati Radharani. So how do we understand that? Prabhupada said this is impossible to comprehend. Forget about understanding Radharani. We cannot understand Krishna. In fact, Srimati Radharani has not been even disclosed much in the Shastras. How can we understand her? So their loving affairs is not the mundane perspective. It should not be seen from the mundane viewpoint like that. These are entirely happening on Vishuddha Sattva. So to help you understand this, there's a beautiful story which was quoted by His Holiness Govinda Swami Maharaj. And he said once, Srimati Radharani, she made a beautiful garland for Krishna. She gave it to her Sakhi, Vrinda Devi. And Vrinda Devi, thinking that, how do I pass it on to Krishna? So she gave it to the very dear friend of Krishna, Subala. She gave it to Subala and said, Subala, please go and give it to Krishna. This is personally made by Srimati Radharani for Krishna. So it was around somewhere on noon time. Krishna was sitting in the forest. This is the time of the cow herding, So he was sitting in the Vrindavan forest, and Subala came running. And he said, Krishna, Krishna, see, Radharani has sent a beautiful garland for you. The moment he heard the name of Radharani, Krishna began to cry. He said, oh, I'm missing Radharani so much. Subala, please arrange my meeting. I want to meet Srimati Radharani. Subala said, hey, this is afternoon time. How will you meet? Generally, their pastimes happen post sunset. He said, this is afternoon time. Everyone will get to see, everyone will get to know. And His Holiness Govinda Maharaj. His Holiness Govinda Maharaj, he describes, this is how his words. He said, Lord Shri Krishna began to cry. He said, Subala, you either arrange my meeting with Srimati Radha, or else I will jump in Yamuna and drown and commit suicide. Sounds familiar? Prem andha hota hai. So I'll commit suicide. And Subala said, no, please don't get bothered by it. I'll do something. And then Subala goes back. He goes to a place called as Yavat. Now this is the pastime by the time Srimati Radharani is already married. Yavat. Yavat is famous for Srimati Radharani's in-laws house. And in that in-laws house, there are two people who are very famous. Jutila, Kutila. Sasuri कहते हैं क्या कहते हैं? सास होता है. So not ससुर होता है. Not ससुरी. Okay, yeah, सास. Sorry. Sasur and सास. Not sasuri. Okay, my mistake. So, Jutila auntie and sister-in-law Kutila. So Yavat went. He said, oh, I have to arrange a meeting. Krishna is feeling so much separation. He came to the house, in front of the house, and Jutila was sitting right outside the gates. It was noon time, and she saw Subala. And she understood. Subala means Krishna. She understood something is going on. And she shouted at Subala, क्या कर रहा है तू यहाँ पर? ये हमारे घर के वहाँ सामने क्यों घूम रहा है? Subala बोला, आंटी माता जी जुटिला आंटी, मैं गायों को चराते यहाँ आ गया, but my calf is missing. I need help. Somebody told me मेरा बछड़ा जो calf has entered your house. Can you please find out the calf? Now, whatever it is, everyone in Vrindavan is a cowherd man and a woman. So everyone understands how dear the cow is, So now even Jutila, she couldn't resist. So she said, oh really? The calf has gone inside? People have said calf has gone inside? So Subala said, yes. So Subala said, Mother Jutila, can you please go inside and see if the calf is there? Can you please bring the calf? Now Jutila just had lunch. So she said, nothing doing. I'm extremely heavy because I've had my lunch. I'm not moving. If you want your calf back, go inside. And this is what Subala wanted. He wanted to meet with Srimati Radharani and convey the message. And he entered the house. Now, this is literally real mission impossible. You can go inside, but how will you come out? Because he has to not meet Radharani, he has to bring Radharani. And Jutila is sitting outside and Kutila is in the courtyard. So it's just impossible. So what did our Subala did when he entered? He prayed. Now if a Vrindavan Vrajavasi have to pray, whom would he pray? Yesterday we were talking about Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti and Raganuga. So in Vrindavan, if Brajavasi have to pray, whom would they pray? Now, Subala began to intensely pray. And not Subala, everyone prays. Every day, everyone prays to this one person. So who is the deity of Vrindavan? Now, nobody sees Radha and Krishna as a deity. They are not in that's not the mood. So who is the deity? Whom they worship? Any idea? Who the Brajavasis, huh? Vishnu. No. Who the Brajavasi? The concept doesn't exist only. Why would Golokvasi worship somebody at Vaikuntha? It doesn't make sense. It's not going to happen. Huh? Huh? Some demigod. Now you're coming to material world. I'm saying Vaikuntha is not possible. How is material world is possible? So they pray to Yogamaya. Subala pray to Yogamaya. Now how Yogamaya manifests? Yogamaya manifests in two forms. One is Purnamasi and second is Vrinda Devi. So Subala began to pray to Purnamasi. So every Brajavasi, for them Krishna and Radharani is like their daughter or son or daughter. For some it could be Sakha or Sakhi. So whom would Brajavasis worship? So Brajavasi worship to Purnamasi. Those who are in Ragamag, they worship Purnamasi. So Subala here began to worship Purnamasi. By the way, just a few things about Purnamasi. So Purnamasi is Yogamaya. Yogamaya appears in two forms, Purnamasi and our Vrinda Devi. So why two forms? Purnamasi is the Ishta of Vrindavan. Every day Nanda Baba Yashodamai will go offer obeisances to Purnamasi. Anything and everything, nothing can happen in Vrindavan without the approval and sanction of Purnamasi. Purnamasi is mother of Sandipani Muni. She was not an actual resident of Vrindavan, she was an actual resident of Avanti. Because of her intense devotion for Krishna, she moved from Avanti to Vrindavan. But her son, Sandipani Muni, stayed back there. And she is a grandmother of the famous Brahman Sakha of Krishna in Vrindavan. Who is that? The famous Brahman Sakha of Krishna in Vrindavan. Anyone online? Who is the famous Brahman boy or Sakha? Madhumangal. She is the grandmother of Madhumangal and disciple of Narad Muni. She got all her knowledge, her teachings from the Narada Kund. And Narada Kund is the place where Narad Muni worships Shrimati Radharani. That's the whole connection here. So Purnamasi, and then we have Vrinda Devi. So Purnamasi takes care of all the pastimes of everything that happens in Vrindavan, like Yogamaya manifestation. So what happened between Krishna and Yashoda? When Krishna opened his mouth and showed the whole, the material worlds, everything within his mouth. That's all through Purnamasi. Then what is the role of Vrinda Devi? Why Yogamaya will manifest herself in two forms? Vrinda Devi takes care of all Madhurya Ras. So that's a very peculiar and particular pastime. So that's all taken care of by Vrinda Devi. So Vrinda Devi is part of the story. So Radharani gave garland to whom? Vrinda Devi. So all that pastime between Shri Radha and Krishna happens through Vrinda Devi is the manifestation of Yogamaya. Now, yesterday we were talking about Swakiya and Parakya, right? So Swakiya means wedded relationship. Parakya means unmarried relationship. So Krishna gets married in Dwarka. So question is, if Radharani and Krishna, they love each other, better they could have got married. Now Brishmanu, Nanda Babu is not that, remember those 80s or 90s movie? जहाँ पे वो एक थी ना आमिर खान की मूवी बचपन में देखी थी, बहुत हिट हुई थी आमिर खान की मूवी, जहाँ उसकी फैमिली और लड़की की फैमिली में बहुत समय से कलेश चलता आया था. So Amir Khan falls in love with this girl who belongs to that opposite family. And then they both run away and there is a conflict going on. Anyone remember? Kyamat se Kyamat tak, I believe. Something like that. I don't know, just quite spaced out. I slept almost at 1 o'clock yesterday. So things are spontaneous here right now. So what was I saying? So anyways, so it was not like those, 80s and 90s movies where the lovers, their families don't align with each other. Vishwanu loved Nanda Baba, Kirtida loved Yashoda, and the vice versa. They both loved each other. So remember when Radharani had appeared? So Vishwanu and Kirtida had invited Nanda Baba. Nanda Baba came. And that's the time the whole story that how Srimati Radharani, almost a couple of months had passed, she had not opened her eyes, nothing. She was dumb and deaf and blind. And when Krishna crawled up to her, then she opened. And then she began to speak like that. So if they had such a thick relationship, then, pastime is happening now. So why Radha and Krishna did not got married? So, our Mr. Durvasa Muni, the great sage, so he enters a pastime. And he went to Brasana, and Vishwanu saw Durvasa Muni have come. So just like Kunti Bhuj, when he saw that Durvasa have come, so Kunti, she should serve. So similarly, Vishwanu asked Srimati Radharani to serve Durvasa Muni. She served Durvasa Muni very carefully. And Durvasa Muni, being pleased by her service, just like being pleased with the service of Kunti, he blessed Kunti. Similarly, he blessed Srimati Radharani. She said, "Hey Radharani, whatever you will cook will be the most nectarian, and whoever will eat food cooked by your hand would never fall sick." And that blessing somehow leaked out from the private chambers of Brasana, of the king of Vishwanu, and went to Nandagaon, entered into the ears of Mother Yashoda. Now, if Mother Yashoda knows somebody has been blessed, somebody who eats from the hand of cooked food from the hand of Srimati Radharani would it will be extremely delicious and would never fall sick. Now, Mother Yashoda would not even cook for Nanda Baba, if you know the Vrindavan thing, because she is a queen. She had so many maidservants. She would only cook for Krishna. And that cook also is not something she would do every day. The one pastime that Damodar Leela, that happened on the day of Diwali, there was a particular incident where Mother Yashoda sat down to particularly churn for Krishna. Otherwise, she had trained the whole entourage of her. She's a queen. Can you imagine she's doing that? So she is not the one who's going to do it. So nonetheless, here Mother Yashoda would personally churn the milk of those last 10 cows, of that one final cow, to give the best to Krishna. Now imagine if if Yashoda Rani gets to know this is the blessing Srimati Radharani got, how can she resist? So she requested Kirtida to send Radharani. And like that, Srimati Radharani began to visit Nandagaon. So Nandagaon has a place called as Pavan Sarovar, is a place where Srimati Radharani would cook. Pavan Sarovar is a place, which is a pastime place today, where Srimati Radharani will cook for Lord Shri Krishna. So whenever Mother Yashoda would see Srimati Radharani, has a golden complexion, Raghunath Das Goswami speaks about her, and he says her eyes are like bumblebees. We would not have any experience of bumblebee. I just had a little experience last night. I was doing my writing. It was close to 12:30. And there's a pin drop silence. There are two good times. After is 11 or at 2 o'clock in the morning. When there is a complete silence, there is no noise, nothing. Somehow, even dogs were not barking yesterday. Otherwise, Sangriya dogs are too wild. I remember somehow this bumblebee entered the room. And I was so tired, but I just wanted to finish my writing. I didn't want my flow of thoughts to break, so I was just finishing writing. And I had already tore apart some papers, which I have reviewed it, and those pages are lying here. At that bumblebee, she was in a, about to die kind of a thing. They don't have a long life. And I saw her. Have you noticed how restless they are, bumblebees? She was rolling up and down, trying to flap her wings. And, if she couldn't fly, it's just like, bachche skid karte hain na floor pe. She was literally skidding through the floor. And that's the time I was remembering this, what Raghunath said. The eyes of Srimati Radharani bumblebee means restless. So beautiful eyes like this, he describes. So whenever Mother Yashoda would see Srimati Radharani, she would like, Bahu to yehi honi chahiye. Imagine, now, she has already been blessed. So why not she becomes the daughter-in-law? Then Krishna will get to eat food cooked by her. He will get the best quality food and the best nourishing, which means Krishna will never fall sick. What else mother would want? So one day she called Shri Radhika, and out of her joy, and these are the days when marriage would happen in childhood, not after teenage years. So she called Srimati Radharani and she painted her hands with haldi. So yes, ladies, something happened called haldi ceremony. So ladies understand. So haldi ceremony means shadi tay ho gayi hai. And now Radharani also knew what it meant. And now she's embarrassed. Now she's coming back to Vasana. And she's thinking, how do I go back to my house? What would Vrishabhanu, what would Ketida think? So she was like, no, I can't go in like this thing. So she went to the kund, right at the foot of Barsana, which is known today as Pili Poker. And she put both her hands into the kund and she washed. And because she washed, the whole kund turned yellowish. She washed her hands and walked away. She thought nobody will get to know. But Barsana, everyone's heartbeat is Srimati Radharani. And when they saw the pond turn yellow, everyone understood, which means this is Srimati Radharani, whose hand must be painted through haldi. And who would have done it? Would be none other than Yashoda. So by that time Radharani reached to the palace, Kirtida and Vashvanu already knew what had happened. And they were so happy, so ecstatic. No, nothing has happened. Mother Yashoda have just painted the hands of Radharani with haldi. Nobody knows. Radharani comes back, washes in the pond. She goes to the palace. Nobody knows. By the time Vrishabhanu and Kirtida know. And now they're so happy. They accept the proposal. All the proposal has not been given formally. And now they sent their servants with a whole tray full of jewels and ornaments. They entered Nandagaon. They entered Nand Bhavan. Now, please get into the situation, in the mood here. In Barsana, everyone's eye is at Radhika. In Nandagaon, everyone's eye, in other words, at Nandagaon, everyone's eyes is at Nand Bhavan. In Barsana, everyone's eye is at Vashvanu's palace. So when they saw this whole, so many servants are coming with trays of jewels and whatnot, entering Nand Bhavan. So this is, in those days used to call dowry, So everyone in Nand Bhavan understood, which means a marriage proposal have come from Vrishabhanu or Kirtida. And there was a huge line outside Nand Bhavan and congratulating Nand Baba and Yashoda Maya that yes, please accept the proposal. And here Nand Baba Yashoda, they are in bliss because proposal have come and Nand Baba Yashoda immediately accept the proposal. So my question is, I don't know where I started with Shloka, where I went into the pastime. I was speaking about Subala. Anyways, let me complete. This is huge pastime now I'm getting into. So what was I saying? So question is, if Vrishabhanu accepted the marriage proposal, if Nanda Baba and Yashoda Maharani accepted the marriage proposal, then why Radha Krishna not married? Why are they not married? And that's the reason I'm speaking about it now, I realize. So, there is a tangent to this pastime. I'll just briefly speak about it. And what's the tangent to this pastime is, now Krishna sees Nanda Baba, he's a king, but he's a king of cowherd community. The cowherd community don't have jewels. They don't have that much jewels. They don't have that much gold. So Nanda Baba and Yashoda Mai, they are super happy, super excited. This is what Yashoda Mai wanted. And now the proposal have come from the girl's side. She's so happy. And now she's thinking, she's telling to you, Nanda Baba, and Krishna is there. And she's saying, Nanda Baba, we should give far better gift in return to Kirtida or Vrishabhanu. And Nanda Baba was saying, I only have milk and ghee. I don't have jewels. Where do I get it? In that point of time, Lord Shri Krishna, this place is called as Mukta Kund. This is also at Nandagaon. Krishna, he silently picked up all the gifts that had come in the form of jewels. He went to the farm area, and he thought, I have seen my father sowing the seed, and the seed fructifies into a huge tree that have so many fruits. So why don't I sow the seeds of these diamonds and jewels and emeralds? He went and put all the jewels on the ground, and he watered it. In the meantime, when their discussion between Nanda Baba and Yashoda Mai settled, Yashoda Mai looked at the room. There was no jewels. Nanda Baba was shocked, Yashoda Maharani was shocked, and they both began to ask, who stole it? Who stole it? And then Yashoda Mai told to Nanda Baba. Nanda Baba was excited. He said, in Vrindavan, there's only one thief. उसका नाम है गोपाल, वो है हमारा बेटा. कहीं और जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. Let's see where is Gopal. So they followed behind Gopal and they saw Gopal in the farmland sowing and throwing these emeralds and jewels. And Yashoda Mai and Nanda said, "What are you doing?" He said, Maya, you wanted to send more better jewels, more jewels, what we received. So I've sowed it, and you wait and watch. This will turn into a tree, and the trees will give you all kinds of emeralds and diamonds and gold, whatnot. Nanda Baba argued, but nonetheless, dekhte, it fructified, turned into trees of jewels, and that's how they got all those jewels. So there's another pastime that happened at Govardhan Foothil, right at the entry of Radhakund. That pastime Jagannath Goswami talks called Mukta Charita. That's a text written by. That's a different pastime. That's between Radharani and Krishna. That different combination. This is another pastime that happened in Nand Bhavan. So, anyways, so again my question is, यहाँ मियाँ बीवी क्या है, या तो ससुर और वो सब राजी हैं, so शादी क्यों नहीं हुई? So, my goodness, we became too long. So what are we talking here is about Yogamaya. What we're talking here is, so Subala entered. So those of you who got late here, I was making a point. I was talking about Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. So I was making a point. Whom do Vrajavasi worship? No, Vrajavasi would not worship Radha and Krishna because they don't see them in that. So whom does Vrajavasis worship? Let's talk about Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga. Let's talk about whom do they worship? They worship Purnamasi. Who is Purnamasi? She is one of the manifestations of Yogamaya. There are two, Purnamasi and Vrindadevi. Purnamasi takes care of all the pastimes, whereas Vrindadevi takes clear exclusive pastime, that is between Radha and Krishna. That pastime exclusively. So Subala, when he entered the house of Jatila, he prayed to Purnamasi. And therefore I began to speak about Purnamasi and all that. Now coming to the point, let me just complete the story and come back to Subala's story. So now everyone have agreed. There's a huge festival in Barsana. There's a huge festival in Nandagaon. The marriage of Shri Radha and Krishna is going to happen. But before that has to happen, they have to go to their Ishta. Who is that? Purnamasi. Every day they'll go and offer obeisances. So they all came to Purnamasi. And when they came to Purnamasi, Purnamasi is Yogamaya. That is internal potency of the Lord. How come Yogamaya allow what we discussed yesterday, Parakya, the thrill arising because of the fear, is far better than Swakya. So Yogamaya is the internal potency of the Lord. How can she allow the rasa of Vrindavan to get diluted and become like that of Dwarka? Very relationship, Swakya. So it was Purnamasi. When she was asked, she was shocked. Impossible. She didn't say impossible. So what she did? She said, दोनों बच्चों के astrological chart लेकर आओ. She saw the astrological chart of Krishna and Radharani. She said, Satyanash. ये शादी कभी नहीं हो सकती. अगर राधा रानी और कृष्ण की शादी हो गई, कृष्ण कभी भी सुखी नहीं रहेगा. Now this one statement was enough for Yashoda Rani to get put off. Because for Yashoda Maya, everything was centered around pleasing and caring for Krishna. And because Purnamasi said like this, therefore the pastime of Parakya Rasa continued in Vrindavan between Shri Radha and Krishna. And today is Sita Thakurani's appearance day, the consort of Advaita Acharya. It's a good coincidence. Sita Thakurani is, according to Vraj Vilastava, she is an expansion of Purnamasi or Yogamaya. So with that, we offer our prayers to Sita Thakurani, the consort of Advaita Acharya, and seek her prayers and blessings to continue speaking on this subject matter. So come back to the story of Subala. Now Subala enters. Now why we're talking Subala's story? We're talking about the intense love between Radha and Krishna, where Krishna wanted to meet Radharani, and because he could not meet, he said to Subala, if I don't get to meet Radharani, I will jump into this Yamuna and commit suicide. This is a story narrated by His Holiness God Govind Swami Maharaj. Subala entered into the house, he met Radharani, he told Radharani, this is the situation. You have to go and meet Krishna. Krishna is becoming restless. He'll come in suicide. He's so intense. So Radharani said, what can I do? Radharani said, what we were discussing today morning at Brahma Murta. Radharani said, impossible. Kutila is in the courtyard. Jatila is on the entry. She's sitting on that gate. दोपहर के खाने के बाद. How would I cross? Impossible. And then Subala said, impossible is a word in fool's dictionary. I'm just joking. It never happened like this. I'm just quoting what we discussed in Brahma Mudra today. So Subala said, no, everything is possible. Krishna can do anything and Krishna can simultaneously undo anything. And then he reminded Srimati Radharani the very important shloka from Bhagavad Gita. When you're becoming demoralized, you can get hope in a hopeless situation. What is that verse? Which Subala would have reminded Radharani of and given hope to Radharani. Yes, impossible can become possible. Any guesses? Well, it never happened. I'm making it up. This is not happened, but I've just connected to all of you. When you say impossible, well, Krishna can always make it possible. Just pull out the tray below that. Always make sure that. Weight ke karan wo ho jayega. Yeah. So what shloka from Bhagavad Gita, if Subala has to speak to us and we became demoralized, could have said? So she's saying impossible, cannot happen. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam. What is the last word? Payanti. So this is sambandha gyan. Priti purvakam. One who worships me with love. Bhajatam priti purvakam. What is the next line? Dadami buddhi yogam. I give him the intelligence to function. We're talking today morning, spirituality, spiritual faith, or depending on Krishna or intellect, spiritual intelligence. Anyways, Subala didn't say like that. This is applicable for us. So he said, well, I have a plan. So Subala looks like Srimati Radharani. His complexion is like that. So in the whole pastime, if somebody looks similar to Radharani, it's Subala. He said, I have a plan. Well, why don't you wear my dhoti kurta and pagdi and I'll wear your dress. So they interchanged. And that's how Srimati Radharani ran away from the house. And she came to meet Krishna. The story goes on, Raghunath Goswami goes in a lot of details about it, which His Holiness Gaur Govind Maharaj spoke about it. Now comes, it was mission impossible. Radharani to chali gayi, Subala ka kya? वो तो फंस गया. वो आप लोग के लिए होमवर्क है. यहाँ मैं बाकी स्टोरी कल कंटिन्यू करूँगा. लेट मी कम बैक टू फिलॉसफी. मैंने अभी एक श्लोक भी पढ़ा है. टाइम इज मूविंग फॉरवर्ड. सो सुबाला तो बेचारा फंस गया. Now, can you imagine how intensely Subala will be praying to Purnamasi? Maya, Radharani and Krishna could meet. Can you imagine if Kutila and Jutila, naam hi itna kathor hai, if they get to know this fellow in what do you call, sari to nahi hogi, kya hoti hai? Gopi dress. I don't know what they call it. This fellow in this dress is not Radharani but Subala. Can you imagine कितने झाड़ू पोछे से पिटाई होती है उसकी? So how much frightened Subala would be. So this is your real Mission Impossible. For those who had been a fan of Mission Impossible series, so imagine how Subala. So okay, let me come to the pastime here. It's a long pastime, but I'll give it a quick hint. So what happened? Now every afternoon, around noon time, under the order of Jutila, Mother Srimati Radharani used to go and worship sun god. Because it was almost noon time. So then the ladies came and they began to ask, where is Radharani? It is time for us to go to the sun god temple and to worship. And Jutila began to scream, hey, kahan Radharani? Chal, nikal bahar, alsi aurat. Jao, Suryadev ki puja ke liye jao. And that Subala, then he ran and escaped along with the gopis. And that's how the whole pastime goes on. So you know that pastime in this sun temple thing, right? When Krishna was hungry, and all the gopis, along with Srimati Radharani, were going to worship sun god. And all the gopas and Krishna were playing. And then Madhu Mangal came, he said, oh, I see the gopis going to the sun god temple. And they are carrying the whole buckets full of laddus. Krishna, we got to do something. I believe some of you might know this. Anyways, let's come back to our philosophy. So the point here is, so that's the intensity of love which we were discussing yesterday. But before we can really get into this pastime, hear it, or even have some experience of it, philosophy has to be there. Of foremost of which, Sambandh Gyan has to be there, firmly established. Otherwise, it will look like, very much look like, because ultimately we're going to see from a perspective of a mental frame where we are. And if that is situated in the mundane consciousness, we'll see that also mundane affair. That's the reason it might sound very much like a Romeo Juliet story. But that's not what it is. And that's why it becomes aparad and offensive. Okay, so that's something. Let's move forward. Very important verses, very important for Sambandh Gyan also. So we're going to read from text number 60 now. हलदि निकराय कृष्णे आनंद आस्वादन हलादि नीरद्वारा करे भक्तिरापोषण. Very important, very important. हलादि निकराय कृष्णा आनंद आस्वादन. So through Haladini, Krishna, Haladini, what she does? She gives pleasure to Krishna. Haladini radvara kare bhaktira poshana. So, how does, param drashto nivartate, vishaya vinivartante nirarasya, rehinam rasovarjam rasoprasya, param drashtva nivartate. What is that param drashtva that Krishna speaks about in Bhagavad Gita? How does it happen? That is being answered here in this verse. Before I get into it, let me just a little bit set a foundation. It'll be easy for you to understand. So there are three modes, right? Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamagun. Can you all think about what other things are there which are three in nature? Three modes of material nature. Which means everything in this material world happens under the influence of Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamagun, right? 100%. That much Bhagavad Gita we understand by now. Before we get into this topic, but let's talk about what are the other three things in the creation. Three is a very special number, three. Yes, I should go? Trinity. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Okay, what else? Three. Adhyatmika, Adhibhautik, Adhidevika. Very nice. Three trap. What else? What else? Anyone online? What are the three things? Yes, Kaushik. Yes, Vishnu. We have Mahavishnu, Garbhadaksha Vishnu, Shivadaksha Vishnu. Very interesting. What else? Three. Three is a very interesting number. Three Thap, three Guna, teen Vishnu. What else? Three. Yes.
Trident of Durga Mata.
अच्छा यार अब ठीक वो तीन कलेश हो गए ना कहाँ जा रहे तुम? Okay, what else? Three. What else? Three. There are many things. Three. बोला ना.
Three worlds.
Three?
Worlds.
Yeah. Our material world is divided into three parts, na? Bhur, Bhuva, Swaha. So there is Swargalok, what do you call it? Bhur, Bhulok, and Patalok. Three loka. What else? Then there are three gates to hell. Right? 16th chapter Bhagavad Gita. What is Trividham Narakasvedam? क्या है? Trividham Narakasvedam Nashanam Atmanaha Kama Krodha Tatha Lobhas. So there are three gates to hell. Kama, Krodha, Lobha. What else? There are three more. This is all you're still functioning within the material world. There are more three things. Yes, Anandaram Prabhu.
Bhagavad Gita is divided into three parts.
Okay, good. Very nice. Very good point. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Very nice. Very nice. And from Bhakti, there are three things. Bhagavan, Bhakti, Bhakta. That's the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. What's the subject matter of Bhagavatam? Bhagavan, Bhakti, and Bhakta. And Bhagavad Gita in three. What else? Think out loud. Three. Yes, Vishwama Prabhu.
Lust can be stopped at 3 levels.
3 gates, or 3 levels. Okay. Senses, mind, intelligence. 3. Very nice. You guys are able to think further. Yes, Mother.
Potency, external potency, and Maya.
Yeah, potency, Shakti, Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, and Tathastha Shakti. Can you imagine how interesting 3 is? There is more to 3. We cut out you. There is a list. Somebody can make a nice note of it. Huh? It's a good thing to memorize. Yes, Kaushal Prabhu. What are the 3 things?
Brahma, Jyoti, Paramatma, and Bhagavan.
Oh yeah, 3 levels of realization. Brahma, Jyoti, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. What else? There is more to 3.
The eyes of Lord Shiva.
हाँ अबे तू चुप बैठा भी तेरा इनपुट हो गया तो भी मौन रख के बैठेगा. Yes, what else? Program group? Inputs. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not able to see inputs here. Yes, Mahendra or somebody said Bhakti. 3 types of bhaktas. Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama. Fantastic answers. What else? I'm not able to see the chat. और क्या क्या है? 3 types of chanting. Naam aparad, naam abhas, shuddha naam. Is very interesting. What else? What else? Let me see. Kanishta, Madhyam, Uttama, Brahma, Sambandh, Abhideya, Prayojana. Sambandh and 3 types of Praman. What is that? Pratyaksha Praman, Anuman Praman. Somebody should make a list now. ये 108 निकलने वाले हैं. 333. So we have Sambandh, Abhideya, Prayojana, and past, present, future. You know, past, present, future, 3. What else? Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Okay. Okay, very nice. Huh? Bhagavat Davdi says, who started the original book distribution? 3 disciples of Jiva Goswami. Shyamananda, Narottama, Srinivas Acharya. Very nice. Huh? Very interesting. 3 Shaktis and all that. Okay. Yes. No, it's something interesting, isn't it? And the reason why it is interesting is because everything in the spiritual world also functions at 3 levels. Haladini, Sandhini and Samvit. हरिबोल बाद में सुन लेना अभी तुम्हारे लिए वचन अभी शुरू हुआ है हाँ तुम्हें ऑफिस जाना दैट्स ओके बट दिस इज वेयर द टॉपिक स्टार्ट्स ऑफ संबंध ज्ञान सो इन मटेरियल वर्ल्ड those 3 things okay now come back to the point in the material world everything is under the influence of sattvagun rajagun tamagun so what happens in the spiritual world everything in the spiritual world happens through 3 things or 3 shaktis you can say haladini sandhini and samvit what are the 3 things you gave many options but you forgot one thing sat Chit, Ananda. That is also 3. And that is our origin. That's our foundation. So Sat refers to Sandhini. Chit refers to Samvit. Ananda refers to Haladini. So our eternal nature, true nature is Satchit Ananda. This much is clear so far if you're able to capture the point. So how does Param Drashtva Nivartate? How does a devotee get nourishment? He cannot get nourishment from Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamagun. So therefore, I'm just making a point because I often see this as a major misunderstanding among devotees. If somebody is a great singer, somebody is a great orator, or somebody behaves nicely, or whatever it is, often we prematurely tag it to, it is a blessing of Guru and Gauranga, or it is because of bhakti. It is often happening because of karma, not because of bhakti. First of all, Kanishta has no ability to understand that. That is only the prerogative of Madhyama to understand. This is the qualification for Madhyama. At Kanishta, we only speculate and assume. Now, why I say so? Because if somebody is functioning under bhakti, which means Haladini Shakti, the greatest symptom of that is he will have internal nourishment. Param Dashtva Nivartate. And the classic example is Srila Prabhupada. When you understand this Samvit, Sandhini, Haladini Shakti, you understand this concept clearly. And now when you look at the life of Srila Prabhupada, there is just no question that Srila Prabhupada could be demoralized at any point of time in his life. How much ever he could have got reversal. Now, those of you, how many of you have read Prabhupada Lilamrita? Please raise your hand. If you have not read, please read Prabhupada Lilamrita. That's the first step for your Sambandha Gyan. First, we have to have a relationship established with Prabhupada. I believe yesterday I was making a point. If in Vrindavan, everyone takes shelter of Radhe Radhe, so what about the devotees in Pune? We made a point yesterday, right? So who we devotees in Pune supposed to take shelter? Not devotees in Pune, devotees everywhere. Who they're supposed to take shelter of? Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado. Yasya prasadan nagati kutopi. So Vaidhi sadhana bhakti is practiced under the direction of Guru. So first we have to have a relationship with Guru. Before we can have a relationship with the Lordship, we have to have a relationship. And for us, Guru is not only Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru. And the form of Shiksha Guru is Srila Prabhupada. It should be compulsory for every devotee to read Prabhupada Lilamrita. Because unless we are firmly situated in that Prabhupada consciousness, having that sense of relationship, understanding of Prabhupada, is always going to be tricky like this. If that is not there, I'm really not sure how that can happen. because this has to be the means firmly situated, then that relationship can happen. Anyways, coming to the point, I lost the track. What I was speaking about, Samvis, Sandhani, Haladani, Shakti. So I was making a point of Srila Prabhupada's life. Those of you who read Prabhupada's Lilamrita, do you agree? Prabhupada faced insurmountable challenges. And every attempt in which he tried to do, he was rejected, he was dejected for everything that he had to go through. For so many years he had to wait to do anything meaningful. He tried having BTG magazine at his house, then his business in Allahabad got burnt out. Then his wife was not favorable, and she sold off the copies, Raddi mein, just to get some money so that she could buy a tea packet for herself. Can you imagine what not he went? Then he left the house, he went to Jhansi. Then he got a place. He even eventually later on initiated, the first disciple of Prabhupada was from Jhansi. And then the governor's wife or somebody, the place which Prabhupada had got, she wanted ladies' club to be started, and Prabhupada had to leave that. Prabhupada went to Vrindavan, then he went to Delhi. And he's doing BTG distribution road to road. And of all, anyone and everyone who could attack Prabhupada was a cow. A cow attacked Srila Prabhupada. Can you imagine? And then so much reversal. Then his god brothers was not supported. The god brothers were criticizing, whatnot. And then he had an opportunity to go to Japan. Then the government was not willing to give visa. Then he went to America. He wanted to build a temple. Then what is that Kanpur family? Anyone remembers the name? Kanpur ka koi hai? Singhania. They agreed for the fund. But the Indian government would not approve the funds to go to America. So many. And the person with whom he was staying, finally he found a place where he could stay in New York. After a few weeks or months, I don't exactly remember the duration, that fellow became crazy. In the middle of the night, he attacked Prabhupada, because of which Prabhupada had to run away, leaving everything behind. I mean, if somebody attacks you all of a sudden, how much can you pack? And he was on the first floor, second floor. It was a 4 or 5 story tall building. Prabhupada had to run through the staircase. So those of you who have been in America, these staircases, the staircase, this is exit staircase. And this, the places at Bowery, these are metal staircase and they're highly vertical. An old man, 70-year-old man running through that staircase, and you get on the street and there are drunkards over there. If this guy is crazy, you're not going to expect less crazy people on the street. Never give up. It is only possible, the verse says here. Let's take a look at the verse again. Anandam she haladini sadam she. Oh no, which is again? This is follow verse. Yeah, 60. Haladini karai Krishna ananda aswahadana. Haladini ra dwara kare bhaktira pushana. So what nourishes the devotee? Haladini Shakti. And that is Srimati Radharani. Therefore, Prabhupada is one classic example for us in today's day and time, who was directly under Haladini Shakti. It is not possible to function in mode of goodness and face so much reversals and not get discouraged. This is the test. This is the actual thing which is happening. Poshana. Whatever outside is happening, that is not our basis of evaluation, but yet facing so many situations, staying hopeful, ussahan, nishchayadhairyat, so much reversals from outside people, from people within the community, his own god brothers and whatnot. So that's a point. So, coming back to Sambandha Gyan, because I'm trying to help you, because I've not spoken, I believe, so far much on this topic, so I realized lately. So now you and I as an individual devotee, if we are lacking juice, sometimes people say, hey Sanatan? Oh, okay, yeah. Tell him to hear this recording. So, sometimes, how many of you have had an experience, I'm missing juice? Orange juice, mango juice nahi kar raha hai, seasonal juice nahi. I'm missing some juice. Something is missing in my bhakti life. Please do not blame people around you. And I get to hear it often. Prabhu ji, juice nahi mil raha. Ab main तेरे को पिलाऊंगा juice. मेरा काम जूस पिलाना नहीं है, मेरा काम प्रेरणा देना है. जूस कौन पिला रहा है? क्या कह रहा है श्लोक? Who is giving you juice? Haladini Shakti. The problem is not with others. The problem is you do not have a proper relationship with God. Your relationship is missing, and what we do, rather than taking a responsibility, we are passing a blame. How does anything will happen? Now imagine if somebody says, Prabhuji, my nourishment depends on you. Now how much ever, whatever I'm, of course that is true, no doubt about it, that happens. But I may do whatever I do, but if you don't act in your position according to what you are supposed to act, how my nourishment can affect your nourishment? It is like a motivational talk. You come in contact with the person, you get a little bit motivated, but when you walk away, then you become demoralized. So this is the function of Aladini Shakti. So anywhere, anytime, when we feel something is missing, I'm not finding that nourishment, I'm not finding the juice, chanting is becoming hackneyed, I don't feel like waking up in the morning, I don't feel like attending Aarti, every day Bhagavatam class, I have so many things to do, my body is aching, my head is aching, my bank account is aching, whatnot is aching, everything is aching. So that all are just excuses, is because our relationship with Lord is lacking. There's nothing else. At that point in time, we have to sit back and ask ourselves a question. Ask ourselves and ask the Lord, what did I do wrong? Why have you withdrew your mercy? Because you have Radharani, Aradhana. So Aradhana, the word aparadha. So what happens in Radha? The mercy of Radharani goes away. So we have to ask, what did I do wrong? And we need to take responsibility. It's unfortunate, and this is a standard thing at Kanishta stage. Person will, when he's in trouble now, I have always seen this. When he's in trouble in his bhakti life, that Kanishta, this is peculiar of Kanishta, he or she will never take responsibility of his life. They would only say, because of you, because of them, because of this, because of that, it happened. Whatever people would have done to you, nobody can take away chanting Hare Krishna from you. Whatever the situation may become tough, nobody can take chanting Hare Krishna away from you. In any situation, in every situation, except for in coma. Except for in coma, I don't think so there could be any possible situation in that way that you cannot chant Hare Krishna. So if you can chant Hare Krishna, which means you can always have a relationship with the Lord. If you can have a relationship with the Lord, then as the verse says here, Haladini Dwara Kare Bhaktera portion. Your portion would happen. Your portion does not depend on ahar that you eat. That ahar that you eat creates a body. The information that you read, it gives a direction to your mind and reflective ability to your intelligence. It does not give portion. Yes, we talk about happiness at 4 levels, physical level, mental, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual level. But everything is a subset of what happens at spiritual level. If you are nourished at spiritual level, you are intellectual, emotional, and physical. All of that will be taken care of. Think about Mirabai. How many of you were there with Rajasthani Yatra? You remember when we were going to that place? We went to the temple also, where she, after getting married, she used to worship Krishna. Now, her family had allowed her to worship Krishna. She was a daughter of the king. Then why she had to run away? Wandered through the forest, lived such a difficult life. Wander through the forest. If in the city we have wild animals in terms of the people today, similarly in forest we have ferocious animals. Why would she wander around through the forest? Same thing, Poshana. Because of which intellectual, emotional, physical, nothing. So many examples are there. Only thing is, when you look at those examples from this understanding, you begin to understand what's going on and what I need to do with myself. Therefore, I often say, please read the biographies, or not biographies, or maybe the histories of the great devotees. But that will give you faith in the process. Bhaktera, Poshanaha. If I perform devotional life sincerely, Because that right nobody can take from anyone. If I do what I'm supposed to do, Srimati Radharani will give me portion. She give me strength. If she can protect somebody who is wandering into the forest, and that to a lady, running through the forest, living in the forest, not running through, but living in the forest, running from the kingdom because the family was searching for her, so running for that way, but living in the forest. If she could be physically, emotionally all alone, if she can be taken care, who's taking care? Lord is taking care for everyone. And that's the point this verse highlights also. Haladani Shakti gives Krishna pleasure, and she is the one who nourishes devotees. Okay, that's a fact number 1. So how to experience joy? Let me complete the story. We are lacking joy because we are not having the mercy of Srimati Radharani or spiritual energy. We are not in touch with spiritual energy. So how do we experience joy? Like yesterday I was making a point. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to give us all access to Rasa Leela. And what is that? Sankirtan. These are things somehow we don't speak much often now. But we made a point yesterday. We never had sitting kirtans. What kirtans Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did? Dancing kirtan. And if you don't believe, those of you who are disciples of Radhanath Maharaj or who are aspiring, go and pay attention to what he does. When he finishes the lecture, he never does sitting kirtan. What he says? Everyone get up and dance. Why? Because this is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give us. That sitting kirtan is of path of yogis who are trying to meditate. We are bhaktas. We are dancing in joy. So what we are supposed to do, yesterday I was making a point. So how do we experience the joy? Well, we have to cultivate joy. And how do we do that? Everyone, at least in here, we have a culture of whole body program. And yes, by the way, this is for all of you who wants to join. Yesterday we started every evening at 7 o'clock. We'll have a Gaurati also now here. I'm just thinking, if Krishna willing, we're going to be here for a few months. So risk ले लेते हैं. पहले मैं risk नहीं लेना चाहता था. I didn't want it, but we'll take a risk now. So every evening, and those of you who are at your home, at least if the family come together, minimum 15 minutes to 30 minutes you should have kirtan. Don't say I am chanting my rounds, she's chanting her rounds, my kids are chanting their rounds, that is done. No, that will not work. That's okay. Very important is to all come together and chant. Kirtan, do kirtan together, very important. And for that, the aartis and things have been given. When we do that, we'll experience the joy because now we are coming in touch with Haladini Shakti. Okay, so let's take 2 verses. Anyways, text number 61. Satchidananda Purna Krishna Raswarupa Eka Chitta Shakti Tan Radhare Tina Rupa. Satchitananda, that's the verse here. Text number 62. Anandam She Haladini Sadam She Sandhini Chidam Che Samvityar Jnana Karimani. So Haladini. So you got it? Sat Chit Ananda. Sat is Sandhini, Chit is Samvit, Haladini is Ananda. You'll have to memorize these things. You'll have to write it. Don't be confident that you will remember it. This is confusing. It needs good amount of study. This is one of the technical subjects of Bhakti aspect. So Sandhini, Samvit, Haladini Shakti. Translation. Haladini is this aspect of Ananda. Sandhini, Sat feature. And Samvit is of knowledge. You mark this as a homework verse for you, puppet. I'll move forward. So these 3 together is called as Vishuddha Sattva. These 3 together are known as Vishuddha Sattva. I'll come to the points directly. There are very beautiful points. You can read it for yourself. Another point, one is Vishuddha Sattva, and all variegatedness in the spiritual world is a function of Sandhini, Samvit, Haladini Shakti. All kind of variegatedness. So what is Sandhini, Samvit, Haladini? What happens? How does they manifest in the spiritual world? Let's take a look. Text number 63. This is from Vishnu Puran, saying the same thing. Text number 64. Sandhini rasara amsha shuddha sattva nahamaha bhagwan nera satta hai yahate vishram. The essential portion of Sandhini potency is Shuddha Sattva, Lord Krishna's existence rests upon it. Okay? 65. Mata Pita Sthana Graha Shaya Asana Ara Isava Krishnera Shuddha Satvera Vikar. Everything that is manifesting in spiritual world is of Sandhini. So mother, father, gopas, gopis, everything. Vrindavan itself is a manifestation of Sandhini Shakti. You might have to scratch your head for a while. Okay, so for that you can read the purpose like that. Second paragraph of the purport. Krishna is always all spiritual. Aside from the parents of the personality, all the other paraphernalia of existence are also essentially manifestation of Sandhini Shakti. So, Sandhini Shakti or the internal potency maintains and manifests all the variegatedness of the spiritual world. In the kingdom of God, the Lord's servants, maid servants, his consorts, his father, mother, everything else are all transformation of the spiritual existence of Sandhini Shakti. Then there's a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. The condition of pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva, in which the Supreme Personality God has revealed without any covering is called Vasudeva. So, by the way, this is a very interesting concept. Again, I have not touched upon it so far. I'll do it in Bhakti Vaibhav. Vasudev, Anirudh, Sankarshan, and Pradyumna. This Chaturvya is more than what it appears to be. So, in our basic existence, our existence is also function according to this four. Vasudev, Anirudh, Sankarshan, and Pradyumna. Go back to Krishna book. When Krishna's life was in danger, according to Mother Yashoda, she would offer prayer to one of these Ishta. So Vedic scriptures talks about it, whom to pray when, for what reason. So just a clue here, Vasudev. I'll probably discuss about this in third canto. Acharya speak about this concept there. What Vasudev, Anirudh, and Krishna Pradyumna means for a devotee. So the condition of pure goodness in which the Supreme Personality God is revealed without any covering is called Vasudev. That is called a Shuddha Sattva state, Vasudev state. And that pure state of the pure state, the Supreme Godhead, who is beyond the material senses and is known as Vasudev, is perceived by my mind. So when a devotee is able to perceive the Lord, just like Narada the boy, he was able to. So that's that time he has attained Vasudeva state. Vasudev, Anirudh, Sankarshan. So that's about Vasudev. Text number 67. I'll take one or two more verses. Just briefly touch about Samvit and Haladini. Samvit at least, not Haladini. We'll take it tomorrow then. Krishna Bhagavata Jnana Samvitera Sahara Brahma Jnana Dika Sava Tara Parivar. The essence of Samvit is knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Lord Krishna. Samvit means with, chit, knowledge. So that knowledge potency comes from Samvit. So what we know of is also a function of Samvit. What devotee knows of is a function of Samvit. Classic example is Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. He was not educated, yet he knew everything because he's functioning under the internal potency of the Lord. Sandhini, Samvit, and Haladini Shakti. So when a devotee is under this energies of the Lord, internal energies of the Lord, what will happen? Three things will happen. How would these things manifest for devotee? For Sandhini we said, everything that happens in Vrindavan is through Sandhini. Samvit is knowledge. So whatever anyone knows in Vrindavan happens through Samvit. Haladini means pleasure potency. How these things manifest for devotee? Haladini is poshan. Samvit is knowledge. What is Sandhini? If you look from this point of view, now your perspective of bhakti will change entirely. What is Sandhini? How Sandhini manifests for a Vaishnava? Yes. No, there's a one word answer. There's no line for it. Knowledge, bliss. Sandhini means service opportunity. Therefore, in third canto it is mentioned, as the devotee is progressing, he gets more and more service. What is the meaning of devotee progressing, getting more service? They're directly proportional? They're directly proportional, which means the more and more he's growing, he's getting more and more service. The Prabhupada, there's a verse that said, when devotee grows older, there's no retirement. In fact, there's more engagement. So that is happening under Sandhini. So Sandhini Shakti provides for our service opportunity. And this is one of the prayers that devotee make on the day of Balaram Jayanti. Because Balaramji also arranges for not only service, he arranges for resources so that I can do that service. Balaramji arranges all the resources so I can perform my service. This is what we should be praying. And Sandhini is which arranges service. So now if a devotee has got a service, is that a job or work? Or he has an opportunity now to take shelter of Sandhini Shakti? It's for something to reflect upon. So when service opportunity has come, if we reject or we see it from the point of view of work or job, then we are acting under modes of material nature. But when we see that service opportunity coming by the blessing of Sandhini, now these are personalities, by the blessing of Sandhini, then we'll be happy and grateful for the service, not complain about the service. And therefore, all services are absolute. It doesn't matter you get a chance to broom the temple hall or you get to offer bhoga to the Lord. It is all same, absolute, from the platform of, absolute platform like that. So that all happens in the. So every moment, every day we have an opportunity to function under the three modes of material nature or to take shelter of Sandhini, Samvit and Haladini Shakti, like that. So that's about Samvit. Let's take a look. What happened? Camera gone? Is the sound going?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll continue because it's getting late. So Samvit. Yeah, so that's our verse. Text number 67. Haladini I'll speak tomorrow. So let's take a look at the puppet. So Samvit Shakti means by which even Krishna knows. So remember there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, Vedaham samatitani vartamanani cha arjuna. Okay. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani cha arjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani na tu vedasya kaschanaha. In other words, Krishna says, I know past, present, and future. How? Through Samvit. That's the point here. So text number 67 translation. The activities of the Samvit Shakti produces the effect of cognition. Both the Lord and the living entities are cognizant. Shri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead has full knowledge of everything everywhere and therefore there are no hindrances to his cognition. He can have knowledge merely by glancing over innumerable impediments, block the cognition of ordinary living beings. The cognition of the living has three divisions: direct, indirect and perverted knowledge. Sense perception of material objects by the mundane senses. Okay, all right. The Samvit Shakti should be maintained in that state. From which state? I'm reading the last few lines of the purport. The last 5 lines. But when the Samvit factor or cognition is enlightened by the Haladini potency of the same internal energy, they work together, and only thus can one attain the knowledge of the personality of Godhead. So what is saying? By the mercy of Srimati Radharani, we get Samvit and Sandhini. Remember, Tesham Sattva-Tiktana Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. So Samvit comes from whom? Lord. So how it happens? By the mercy of Srimati Radharani. The Samvit Shakti should be maintained in that state. Material knowledge and indirect spiritual knowledge are byproducts of the Samvit Shakti. These are it takes a little time to understand this, but I hope we are getting something here. So I'll pause here. So we are talking about Srimati Radharani, and that is in the